Majin Vegeta's EZA is here, and boy does he look awesome. How's it everybody, Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We have the EZA details for the Int Majin Vegeta. We knew this guy's EZA was coming from the producer letter the other night, and in this video we will break down his full details, give a little bit of calculations, and what to expect with this character when he drops on March 18th, Saiyan Day, here in Dokkan Battle. So let's go ahead and let's start. So leader skill remains the same. Majin Buu Saga, Vegeta's family, key 3, HP attack defense 170% with an additional 30% to gifted warriors. Pretty standard 200% leader skill type stuff. Now, on his entrance animation, he can activate it now with a Trunks or Majin Buu Saga enemy at the start of the character's attack turn. So they did make a slight adjustment to that entrance animation by adding the Majin Buu Saga enemy restriction, and we'll talk more about that at the end. But if activated, he gets a permanent damage reduction rate 30%, attack defense 50% for the character and all allies whose name include Trunks, and a great chance of performing a critical hit. So very, very nice there, and all of that is permanent. Basic effects include 250% attack and defense, launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack, and changes key spheres STR to Int. When HP is 88% or less, attack 88% randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to STR and Int excluded 2 Int key spheres. When activating the active skill or when attacking with 12 or more key, he gets 250% attack and an additional 200% attack when HP is 88% or less, or with 3 or more key spheres obtained, or 3 or more Int key spheres obtained, or 5 key spheres obtained total. When receiving an attack with 12 or more key, he gets 200% defense, and with 1 or more Int key sphere or 3 or more Int key spheres, he gets 150% defense, guard all attacks, damage reduction rate 20%. With 3 or more Int key spheres obtained, or 5 or more Int key spheres obtained, he gets damage reduction rate 10% before attacking, and launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack, and gives Majin Buu allies 40% for 2 turns. So all in all, a pretty decent passive, right? Should you proc everything, including his entrance animation, you've got 30% damage reduction off of that, plus another, where is it? Right? Another 20%, so 50% damage reduction, 60% before attacking, mind you, if you get the 3 or more, plus guard. And all it takes is 3 key spheres or 1 key sphere to make that happen. So that's pretty good defensively. I think that means he's going to be pretty good defensively. I think people tend to forget how powerful, right, this ability right here, 200% defense when receiving an attack, that essentially doubles whatever defense you're looking at. So really, really powerful stuff there for his defense. It means he's going to be pretty tanky. I worry a little bit about this part here, right? The extra 10% damage reduction right before attacking. I really have to see how him and the new LR work together, as I'm not sure either one of them are true slot 1 units. I think he could probably get away with it based on 60% damage reduction and guard. Should be able to get away with it in most cases, but we'll have to see. So with that said, let's take a look at his super attack effect now. Super attack effect is greatly raising attack and raising defense for the turn, while causing immense damage to the enemy and raising allies defense by 20% for 2 turns. So they really leaned into the support role for him. I do like that. All right, so he's giving 40% for 2 turns and then an extra 20% for 2 turns on his super attack effect. That's really nice. Plus Trunks characters and himself getting 50% attack and defense is pretty nice. That's actually really good. And if we just take a look real quick at his active skill, just a reminder because they can't change it, right? Active skill, he needs to actually be hit 6 or more times in order to proc it. So not at least like for his active skill requirements here, right? It can be with that or just when attacking with 12 keys, since he is a TUR. So that's really nice. So let's actually jump over here. We do have some tentative calcs. Once again, shout out to Ori for these. So tentative calcs have him, right? This is assuming Rainbow. This is assuming you have at least the 900 defense equipped. You could possibly have more, and with 50% support. So start of turn intro, right? So you haven't attacked, right? You haven't done anything yet. You've got 387k start of turn defense. Now, assuming you grab your minimum of 3 or 5 orbs or 3 int orbs, whichever you get, which should be easy to do given his orb changing. He's got 550 start of turn defense, essentially nearly tripling that if you get when you receive an attack. So that's actually pretty good with guard and damage reduction pre-super. That means you're living up to 10 million supers, right? I think I would have to do the math there, but I'm pretty sure with this, right, you're still surviving like a turn 1 Bio Broly super, for example. Like that's honestly pretty good. Not that I think you should put him in front of that, but if you had to, he could live it on turn 1. So that's pretty impressive there. Now, after his 4th super attack effect, he's going to have 3.6 million defense, right? And this assumes he gets all of his super attacks with guard and damage reduction. That's actually really good, right? This means he's living... ignoring bosses like Jiren, for example, right? Since that's gone, we don't really need to assess that. Pretty much post-super, every current major boss he doesn't have an issue with. He's living, right? He's living Omega's super, right? His built-up super. I think you might have trouble with probably Goku Frieza's from the Red Zone redo. You might have trouble with his essay, but then again, both of those events are going to be gone by the time he comes out anyway. So for Cellmax and Bio Broly, which are the ones that will be out when he comes, he'll be fine. So there we go with that. So with that, honestly, I'm pretty happy that this is good. I like that they shifted him to a support role and actually gave him support. That's really nice. And also having orb changing is really nice for the team that he's on. That's going to be very, very helpful. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The entrance animation activates an entrance animation when there is an ally whose name includes Trunks or Majin Buu Saga enemy. So let's attack the second half of this, right? The Majin Buu Saga enemy. Seems like a weird condition, but I would say that this almost guarantees that we should be seeing a Red Zone redo of the Buu Saga Red Zone, right? This one here, if we actually could just go back to the challenge events here, right? We would probably be seeing a Red Zone for Red Zone Kai or Red Zone redo for the Majin Buu Saga Red Zone. I definitely feel like that's probably the case here. Hopefully they make it permanent. If they do, hopefully they listen to our feedback and they don't get rid of it if they do decide to bring it. But this does make me feel like there's probably a Buu Saga event coming sometime soon. And then now let's talk about the other elephant in the room. I know I've already seen it. I'm kind of, unfortunately, I just wasn't able to post my video right away. And the unfortunate result of that is I've already seen a lot of the complaints on Twitter and Reddit about this dude's conditions. And I don't know. I guess I must be the stupid one, right? Like, I just... Are people just forgetting which Trunks units we actually have and are thinking you must run a unit who is a Trunks? Because like that's the only reason that's the only logical conclusion I can come to this one for this one. Because right, when you actually look at the available cards because it's only a character whose name includes Trunks, right? So if we go off right, just off the cuff, right, immediately if you're running this guy on the new LR, you immediately have access to the Int trio, who are still very good. I don't know why people are pretending they're bad or just completely forgetting they exist, but you have that as an option. right? And that just assumes you're running him on the new LR. He doesn't need to be on the new LR, although he does really help, right? He's still going to work on other non teams because he's not restricted to those extreme teams like the new LR is, right? So you could run him on other teams, right? If you're running him on the new LR's team with the Deborah, right? If you're running him with the new LR and the Deborah, you have access to this guy here, which, you know, as long as you're running baby, is a solid option, right? If you guys, the baby free-to-play units actually ended up being really good. If you ended up, like, if people actually took the time to use them, they actually are really good on that corroded body and mind team. So that's an option, right? Other options on more superclass centered teams. You have Vegeta and Trunks, who are still really good. You have the Fizz Trunks. You have this guy here, although they don't share too many teams, but still an option. You have these guys here. You have what else? And I think that's it for that. I mean, technically, if you're running a more Vegeta's family-centered team, you have access to the AGL Trunks, although I would run him more on Bottom Master Disciple, but that's aside from the point. The point is there are options, and that's not to say that there isn't a full option, right? There's still the chance that they could EZA these guys, right? These guys could get a sub-EZA. They don't typically go out of their way to tweet out sub-EZA details until the moment they happen, so it's possible we could still see these guys at a later point in this celebration, or just they didn't tweet them out, right? Sub-EZAs are weird like that sometimes, so there's always that option. There's also, right, oh, I also forgot, right, these guys, right? These guys are also still good. The only issue with them is you probably want to build, you need at least 3. I mean, you don't really need this, right? This would just help with orb changing. Yeah, I mean, you don't really need the youth team, right? This would just help with the orb changing and with boosting allies critical hit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially for the new LR. But for these guys, right, they actually do get a boost when being run on this team because they get extra attack and defense with an extreme class ally, right? So, you know, they might see a resurgence here. They could definitely be an option, right? And they're a pretty decent dodge unit too, right? They have a 50% chance to dodge. Is it just 50? Oh wow, I always thought it was more. For some reason, this unit is actually one of the few units that dodges for me. For some reason, I always thought it was more. All right, well, still, there's still a pretty decent unit, but I know they're probably not everybody's cup of tea. But the point is, there's plenty of decent usable cards with Trunks in their name, and this guy being the most prominent one, being on both Deborah's team and the new LR's team, and you really only have to focus on the Gohan side of things. You don't have to go into the other side because the other side really focuses on if you have a full youth team. But if you're not using a full youth team, then you don't have to do anything. You just stay in Gohan, use his active skill, get his bonus for the rest of the battle, and then he's fine, right? Plus the orb changing that it provides too on that active skill will be very helpful for this team, for both themselves and the Goku side of the Majin Vegeta card as well. So the point is there are options, and I think it's really weird that people are pretending these options don't exist or that you're stuck running right AGL Trunks, which is literally what I'm seeing people say. It's insane. Anyways, Majin Vegeta back to the point. Majin Vegeta looks good. I think he's going to be a staple on the new team, and honestly, I think he'll be a great option on Deborah's team as well, provided you could use one of those corroded body and mind Trunkses. So, guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, tell us, what do you think of Majin Vegeta's EZA? Like I said, honestly, he looks pretty good. I think people, once again, we're in that EZA cycle. We have seen the details, and most of the community has already went straight to Doom posting, unfortunately. But I think he looks great. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching. and aloha.